What up, fight fans and family? It's your boy Big Zan coming at you with another boxing video. So we tapping off the end of the wonderful fight week. We got an undisputed match this weekend, tomorrow night to be exact, between Lions only Jaron Charlo and Brian Castano. This is going to be their second fight. The first time around, like I said in my previous video, I gave the edge to Brian Castano. I think Jaron Charlo should have lost that fight, but to each its own. The boxing god said, hey, gonna get his brother another chance. So I can't argue with that. If you love boxing, you gotta accept the rule of thumb at the end of the day and the decisions that the judges make, hands down. So first time around, Jaron Charlo showed up a shell of himself. I say shell of himself because honestly, I don't even think Brian Castano beat him. And that's why I gave him the edge of Brian Castano. I think Jaron Charlo beat himself in that fight. He came up in that fight and he wasn't looking for a fight. He wasn't looking to put on the best performance of his career on the biggest stage. And it showed. Brian Castano made all the right adjustments for that fight. And it showed. Brian Castano fought the best fight of his career by far. And he deserved that win. The whole night, even though Charlo himself was the bigger man, Brian Castano was bullying Charlo. Brian Castano had Charlo on the ropes at any given time he wanted to do it. Anytime he wanted him on the ropes, he was there. And while on the ropes, and you got to understand, Jaron Charlo is a very smart boxer, a high ring IQ, good punching power, great agility, good movement. When he wants to be, he decided to trade with the likes of the Mexican-style fighter Brian Castano on the ropes, which is a big no-no. He got caught multiple times on the ropes. He lost multiple engagements. He lost multiple rounds, and he did not deserve to win that fight. Jaron Charlo did catch Brian Castano throughout the fight a couple times, but that was followed by blind aggression. If you don't know what I'm talking about, blind aggression, let's think the likes of the great himself, Deontay Wilder. Early in his career, when he would hurt somebody, he would go to work wildly, not regarding his own protection, not looking for counter punch or anything like that. But the difference between Jaron Charlo and Deontay Wilder is an anomaly in the sport of boxing. He has that much power. Even if you're guarding, he can knock you out. Jaron Charlo does not have that type of power. Hence, he's made his boxing pedigree. He's had his success off being a traditional good boxer, a sound boxer with great power. His brother having a little bit more power in the bigger weight divisions, but make no mistake, Jaron Charlo has power. If you didn't know that, just go back and look at his fight with Erickson Lubin, how he dispatched that man. And we know how tough Erickson Lubin is with the previous fight that he just had with Fundora a week or two ago, well, a couple weeks ago. That was a great fight of the year candidate, both men down. Go check that fight out. But needs to say, Brian Castano deserved to win that fight. Brian Castano early in his career had a draw against Eric Lara, which was a pretty decent fight. I'll say that need to be a draw, but that's the only other massive fight on his resume. We know Jaron Charlo has the better resume, the better boxing skills, and I expected him to go in there and dispatch Brian Castano in a KO fashion. That being said, I say this because I think Jaron Charlo needed a wake-up call. Like all young boxers at one time, especially the African-American crowd, we lack discipline sometimes when we get up there and we see all those lights. We think that this is too easy and we can walk through every opponent just because we're that talented. No, you cannot do that in the sport of boxing. Brian Castano is a great boxer. I will say great, because what he did to Jaron Charlo only screams great. And he should be the undisputed super middleweight champion right now. He has good hand speed. He has decent power, hell of an inside game, a very physical fighter, and he has a great chin. A great chin. Jaron Charlo landed some flush shots on Brian Castano, and he refused to go down. And I have to say the same about Charlo, too. His chin was tested in that previous fight they had. But to say this least, I have Jaron Charlo knocking out Brian Castano. Derek James is in Jaron Charlo's corner. Definitely a trainer of the year this year, with the performance that Errol Spence just had over Ugas. He has this trend with these elite Texas fighters going on right now, and I love it. I think he's going to make all the necessary adjustments. I think Charlo is willing to make adjustments, knowing that he didn't have his best performance in this fight. And one thing about these Charlo brothers is when they got a point to prove, they really go out there and prove it. If anybody remembers the Tony Harrison fight, where he really swore up and down and he won that fight. He went out there fight a second time, a different animal, and he knocked Tony Harrison down. He KO'd him twice, and I think the third time, don't quote me on it, it's been a while since I looked at it, was a TKO or a KO. That was a good fight too, though. You guys should check that one out. But I'm giving this fight to Jermell Charlo just based off the fact that he asked Derrick James in his corner. I know Derrick James is going to make the adjustment that he needed, and I know all around that Jermell Charlo is a better boxer, better fighter than Brian Castano. No offense, but it's just from what I've seen in the fights that I've seen them all in, from the eye test alone. So that's a good fight this weekend, but I'm more interested in the co-main event, that being the fight with Jaron Boots Ennis and Clayton. Two really good 147 pounders, two good welterweights. Jaron Ennis being by far the better one. I don't have Clayton to win this fight. I don't even have him making it to the 12th round. You got to understand, this man Jaron Boots Ennis is different. He is on a 19 KO streak right now at 147 against some credible names. He has knocked out Sergey Lipinets. He has knocked out Thomas Delorme in the first round. He has stopped Van Heerden. I don't care what nobody says. Van Heerden was getting worked before that headbutt and was on the verge of being KO'd himself. He has stopped, like I said, Chris Van Heerden. And none of his last 19 fights have went past round 6. Jaron Boots Ennis right now is the third best welterweight on the face of the planet, hands down, just behind the pound-for-pound greats themselves, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. And I want to say right now, he would dispatch a Keith Thurman in sound fashion, knocking him out, a Danny Garcia. I don't know if Danny Garcia would get knocked out because Danny Garcia has a hell of a chin. Man, he was taking some shots against Errol Spence, but I wouldn't put it past a Jaron Boots Ennis to knock a Danny Garcia out. That being said, Clayton is a good fighter too, a pure boxer, good counter puncher, orthodox. He looks for shots. He doesn't put too many punches together like Jaron Ennis does. He's a sharpshooter. He's a boxer. Decent power, but a good boxer is not somebody who's going to beat Jaron Boots Ennis. It's going to take somebody great to beat Jaron Boots Ennis in this game right now. It's going to take an Errol Spence. It's going to take a Terrence Crawford. It's going to take a Sean Porter when he was really Sean Porter. You know, these guys right now that don't have belts, I don't see them scratching the surface of what Jaron Boots Ennis can do. And I don't think Jaron Boots Ennis is going to fight a Errol Spence Jr. or a Terrence Crawford at 147. If it does happen, and I think it will, it's going to happen at 154. That being said, I got the fight going maybe 8 rounds, 8 to 9 rounds with Clayton. Clayton is solid. You know, he had a draw against Sergey Lipinets, and we know Sergey Lipinets is nothing to play with. Sergey Lipinets has had fought Jaron Boots Ennis too, in which he was stopped. Sergey Lipinets holds a belt, had a belt at 140, which he lost to Mikey Garcia, the great Mikey Garcia down there, when he was really considered to be one of the best in the world. And that was the only blemish on his record before he stepped in the ring with Jaron Boots Ennis. But considering what Jaron Boots Ennis did to Sergey Lipinets and the tough fight that Clayton had with him, which I did give to Clayton. They scored their draw, but I think Clayton did just enough to edge it out. I just don't see him beating a Jaron Boots Ennis. Good boxer, but Jaron Boots Ennis is something special. I mean, this man has switch hitting potential. Not potential, he can switch hit. He can punch. By the 19 KOs he's just had on his resume, he can he has good reach. One of the bigger 147 pounds, the reach, the power, the agility, the ring IQ is all there. He does get hit at times. He has this tendency to stand up in high guard, or like this, on the inside game against shorter fighters, and that's kind of dangerous. He got clipped in a fight with Sergey Lipinets a couple times. But Clayton is not the type of fighter to throw those big looping shots during inside fights. I did see another wrinkle to Castillo Clayton's game when he fought Sergey Lipinets. He started moving more than I ever had saw him in previous fights. And that leads me to think against higher opponents, that's the type of fight game he'll have. But doing that against a sharpshooter, a power puncher, a very quick fighter in Jaron Boots Ennis, quick and dangerous fighter against in Jaron Boots Ennis, I don't think that's a good idea. And that's the fight he's going to have to fight, because that'll only be the second fight at that level, and it's a step up, a big step up. Jaron Boots Ennis punch selection is perfect in my opinion. He knows when to throw combinations. He knows when to be an inside fighter. He knows when to trade. He knows when to do all that. His dad, Boise Ennis, has really molded that man. I look at a couple videos with him. His dad talking about how he shaped him up to be. Jaron grew up watching all the other Ennis box, including his dad, and it's showing up. I really can't wait to see him step up and fight somebody like a Keith Thurman or a Sean Porter isn't fighting anymore. A Danny Garcia, maybe one of those guys, because Virgil Ortiz is not going to beat Jaron Boots Ennis. I'm sorry. Conor Benn is not going to beat Jaron Boots Ennis. Ain't no Kell Brook, ain't none of them guys going to beat Jaron Boots Ennis. He is a future champion. When Spence and them leave, he will rule 147. Mark my words. But I'm looking forward to the fights tomorrow, guys. That's my prediction on how they're going to go. I don't know what round it'll be when Jermell Charlo turns up the heat on Castano, but I do have him knocking him out. If he doesn't knock him out, then Castano might be a champion tomorrow night, honestly and truly. So we'll see how it goes. I'm tuning in to all the fights. On that note, it's your boy Big Zan. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all with another video. Peace.